So, what if I told you capitalism isn't just dying, it's already dead? That's the wild theory from economist Yanis Varoufakis, and today we're going to treat this like a crime scene. We're going to figure out what happened, who the suspects are, and what new system he says is already here. All right, let's get right into it. The core idea here is that this isn't some prediction about the future. No, Varoufakis says this is happening right now. And the killer? Well, get this. He says the thing that killed capitalism is capital itself. It's like capital mutated into this super powerful new form, kind of like a virus that got so aggressive it ended up killing its own host.
So, if this was a murder, you've got to have a murder weapon, right? Well, the book points to two. Count them. 2 smoking guns. This wasn't some slow decline or death by natural causes. Nope. Varoufakis is basically saying it was a full-on targeted hit. Okay, so here are the 2 fatal events. First, you've got the 2008 financial crash. To stop everything from collapsing, central banks just flooded the world with trillions of dollars, a huge tidal wave of cash looking for a place to go. And then, at the same time, something else was happening, what Varoufakis calls the new enclosures. Think about the early internet. It was kind of like the Wild West, open and free. Well, this is when big tech came in, carved it all up, and put up fences. These 2 things together, they created the perfect storm, the perfect conditions for a totally new kind of economic system to be born. But you know, a story like this doesn't just come out of nowhere. It didn't happen in a vacuum. To really get why capitalism died, we have to rewind a bit and take a quick look at what it looked like in its final days in the 20th century. Because that's what really set the stage for everything that was about to change. So check out this chain of events. Back in the 50s, you had these massive corporations and the government getting all tangled up, forming what was called a technostructure. Then, a huge moment in 71, the US dollar gets cut loose from gold. This leads to a whole new system in the 80s, which Varoufakis calls the global Minotaur. Basically, the whole world sent its profits to Wall Street, which then funded America's spending. But in 2008, that Minotaur was slain, killed by Wall Street's own greed. And it was the death of that specific system that left a massive power vacuum, clearing the path for something totally new. So, the global Minotaur is dead. The 2008 crash has happened. What comes next? What rises from those ashes? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. A new kind of capital emerges, and it's way more powerful and just fundamentally different from anything we'd ever seen before.
To really grasp how different this new capital is, we first have to understand the old kind. And there's a great little story in the book about that. Picture this. It's 1829. This guy, Thomas Peel, shows up in Australia. And he's got the whole package. Money, tools, even 350 workers. He's ready to start a business, a colony, the whole shebang.
But then, his whole plan just completely collapses. It falls apart. And why? It's actually really simple. His workers just left. They just walked away. Turns out there was tons of free land nearby, so they had another option. They didn't have to work for him. And this little story reveals the key secret, or maybe the key weakness of old-school capital. Its power to command people only works if those people have no other choice. Peel's money, his tools, all of it was totally useless because he couldn't force people to work for him. Now remember that point. It's going to be really important. Okay, now let's jump back to the present and look at this new thing Varoufakis calls cloud capital. Compare it to Peel's situation. The main job of cloud capital isn't just to make stuff like cars or phones. Its main job is, and this is a quote, a produced means of behavior modification. I mean, just think about it. Your Alexa, your Google Maps, your TikTok feed, these aren't just tools. They are actively training us, shaping what we want, and nudging us to do things. And when you have a totally new kind of capital, guess what? You get a totally new ruling class. Varoufakis says we can't even call them capitalists anymore. He has a new name for them, cloudalists. And they're basically the new feudal lords of our digital world. So if they're the new digital lords, what does that make us? Well, according to this theory, we're cloud serfs. Think about it. Every single time you post a review, or like a photo, or upload a video, heck, every time you just walk around with your phone on, giving Google Maps traffic data, you are working for free. You're building their digital kingdoms, brick by digital brick, without getting paid a dime. Okay, so you've got a new kind of capital, a new ruling class, and a new kind of unpaid labor. When you put all that together, you get a system that's so different from capitalism that Varoufakis argues it needs a whole new name. And that name is Technofeudalism.
So what's the big difference? How does it actually work? Well, a traditional